have Tim Onlu goes over a tenth of a second first.
Hello and welcome back to the Formula Trout Premier Series Season 12. You join us for round 8 out of 12 in the championship. And today it is a special one, for we are heading to the Cathedral of Speed. That is right, where else could it be but the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, one of the most famous racetracks in the world. A track that will be celebrating its 103rd birthday a little bit later this year, and a track that is beloved by both drivers and fans alike. It is all about the speed here, hence the nickname. It's all about how fast can you go down those two monster straights, but you do need a little bit of downforce to work and wind your way through the middle sector. So it's all about give and take. Do you prioritize the speed down the straights, or maybe having a bit more in the corners? We'll have to wait and find out. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, bringing you all of the action here from the commentary box. We've also got Case Willems on the cameras today, and Alex Cochrane's joining us here as well, just to watch along and do some race director stewarding stuff. Make sure that nobody's being naughty, as well, we always try and intend to do that here at Formula Trout. Make sure that it's hard and aggressive racing, but fair, and that no rules have been broken. Let's have a little rundown what happened last time out. It was Nico Bossert who took yet another victory at Suzuka, the Japanese ground being the 7th of the championship, his 3rd in a row after victories at Silverstone and the Hungaroring as well, and that makes it 4 for the season. He's only finished off the podium once, and that was at round number 2. When we headed down, when we headed down to the Red Bull Ring. So it could be interesting to see if he's going to try and make it 4 in a row. Of course, the Red Bull Ring, that was won there by the man who's currently sat on provisional pole by 0.3 of a second. That being his teammate at Junior GP, Cody Lawrence, the number 11 driver. 2 race wins, as already mentioned, at the Red Bull Ring, and 1 race after that at Portimao in Portugal, the 3rd round of the season. And aside from that, we've only had 1 other race winner this season, that being Steven Stevenson. The last time he entered Las Vegas under the lights down at the strip, he took victory there, but he has not entered a race since. And it doesn't look like we're going to be seeing him today either, unfortunately. But it is Cody Lawrence that currently sits on provisional pole, now 0.2 of a second ahead of Philip Olsen in the Griffin Gaming number 8 car. Of course, as always, we're running the RSS, the Race Sim Studios Formula Hybrid V12-R, the take on the upcoming 2026 Formula 1 regulations from the guys, gals, and non-binary pals over at Race Sim Studios. But we are running with the V12 engine package, 900 horsepower from that naturally aspirated 12 pot, which you can hear singing in the background, and a traditional KERS system as well. So you do have a little bit of push to pass on your side, but of course you have to work out how to make it run. And Monza, what a place to have those V12 screaming as well. Here's the driver standings at the moment. Nico Bossert currently leads. That's after round 5. So it was on 100 points at that moment in time. The gap currently up the top of the driver standings. Nico Bossert leads by 30 points. He's got 151 to Cody Lawrence's 121. Thomas Barbary in P3. He's on 93. P4. There's been a bit of a change there. Jaden Neal, he's jumped ahead of the disappearing Steven Stevenson. He's got 65. Philip Olsen, P5 on 61. So that could be very, very close. And then Steven Stevenson, 6. Again, not expecting him here today. Antoine Morella in the number 86 car. He's on 48. And then further down the pack, Alex Cochrane, who won't be racing today. He's somehow in P8 in the standings as it stands. He's got a whopping great big 20 points to his name. Christoph Berzer was P9, he's got 18. Giovanni Amor in P10, sat there with 13 which is where he was last time. Again, we've not seen him since the third round at Algarve, so we could be getting some changes in the standings after this one. In the team standings, well, it is domination from Younger GP. It was a big gap after round 5. After round 7, they sit on 272 points, should I say. CRG Racing in P2, 154. A massive, massive gap. The battle for third place, though, very, very close. With DAC Systems, they're on 79 in P3. Griffin Gaming in P4 on 77. So that will definitely be changing coming into this one. We'll just have to wait and see how it is going to unfold going through. Top 3, Philip Olsen in P4, and Thomas Barbary currently sitting in P5 as it stands. Maxi Younger, he sits in P6, and Jordi Laus is in P7. After the top 7, again, bit of a gap starting to form as we get down to Maxi Younger in 6th. There's some of the drivers coming back in. There's Nico Bossert. Looks like he is on another push lap. He did just set one, but you can keep on pushing. There's no obligation to come into the pits if you can make the tyres last. It looks like most of the guys will be qualifying on the C3 compound. That seems to be the best tyre to be starting the race on. And then you can go for a one-stop from there as well. But Bossert is coming into a pits. It was just an aggressive in-lap, but he has plenty of time to make his way in before he has to head back out once again. As there is Thomas Barbary, making his way round in the CRG racing car. Don't want to run out too wide at the exit of the Parabolica. Can cost you a little bit of time. Then it's the shortest run to the start-finish. I believe he may have actually be starting a new lap, or he may just not have improved on that occasion. There's a big lock up there for what looked like one of the Griffin Gaming cars, but all got away okay. Let's talk about Monza then quickly, with 3 minutes left in this qualifying session, of course. A track that has been here for years and years and years. And it's, well, it's Monza. It's the Cathedral of Speed. It's the Temple of Speed. It is one of the holy grails, really, of motorsport, and the same can be said about sim racing as well. Of course, you've got those you've got a monstrous DRS section down the front straight, then heading into the Variante di Rettifilo. Can be a bit chaotic sometimes on opening laps in sim racing. Let's hope that's not the case. On board with Mark Levine, he's currently in P10 as he makes his way into the Parabolica corner, which no one really knows what it's called anymore, I don't think, because it was renamed a while back to Michele Alboreto corner. In honour of Michele Alboreto, funnily enough, but I think everyone just chose to ignore it. I think it is just called the Parabolica again now. So well, let's follow Levine around. He's just got to P6 actually, so nice little lap there. He'll go up, locking up big time into the Rettifilo chicane. A few more drivers making their way through. Don't want to run too much curb on the exit. It can actually just hinder getting the power down, cost you a bit of traction, and it can drag you out into the gravel sometimes. Through Curva Grande, back on board now into the Della Rosa chicane. That's Mark Levine, heavy impact into the wall, and that may mean he might not have time to get back out for another push lap. Very, very tricky through there. It's just not quite a mid-speed corner, so the downforce isn't there. You've really got to rely on mechanical grip. Going side by side can be a bit interesting. Then, of course, you've got the Lesmos heading down through Ascari, and then Parabolica to end your lap. As out of the pits, we see some more drivers. That is an interesting take through turn number 1 there in the Younger GP Academy car. Fair play. If that's the line you want to take, that's the line you want to take. But Auro Alvarez, well, that's, yeah, nothing else really to add to that one, to be honest. But he's getting his way round, and I'm sure he'll be doing a fantastic job. And, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold over the course of this race. On board with the Dutchman, Steven Hepner. I believe he has just finished a lap, but 2 and a bit seconds off the pace. He's got a lot of ground to make up, as are Stephen. And yeah, getting out of the way, looks like his qualifying session is done. 45 seconds left on the clock. He's going to need to pull something spectacular out of the top drawer if he wants to make it back to the pit lane, or back, should I say, to the start-finish line for one more push lap. But he is crawling around. That looks like it's going to be his session done and dusted as he makes his way into the pits. Or he will be making his way into the pits at the end of this lap, should I say. When we were here last time, it was Lenny Papon who took victory, his second win of the year in the Trinity Simsport car, in only his second and final entry as well. He won the first round in Australia, didn't turn up here, won, didn't turn up again for the rest of the season. So he was clearly the man on a mission in Season 11. Season 10, though, when we were using the Formula Alpha 2022 car, Steven Stevenson was on an absolute tear. Obviously, that year where he dominated the championship, missed 2 races, still won by 70-odd points from Nico Bossert. He absolutely dominated, and that was his 5th race win in a row here in round number 8. Went on to win the following race in Germany as well. Qualifying has now come to an end, and it looks like Cody Lawrence is going to be starting from the front of the grid. Currently second place in the Drivers' Championship, chasing his teammate Nico Bossert, who will start alongside him, locking out the front row. 30 points separating them. Can Lawrence try and bring that gap down? Jaden Nils starting P3. Thomas Barbary looks like he was starting 4th. Philip Olsen 5th. Maxi Younger sticks. Mark Levine will be in P7. Jordi Lauis will be P8. Aro Alvarez will be P9. So that's the top 9 for you now. Just seeing if anyone else may be on a lap. We could be getting a few changes, but I think that may be it. Oh no, looks like we've got a few more making their way round. So we'll have to wait and see. Coming to the line now, what is it going to be for the number 17 car? Comes to the line. Do they improve? And it looks like they have there actually. That's a nice little lap time. Moves themselves up into P8. That's Oscar Williams making his return here to Formula Trout. Been a long old time since we've seen Oscar behind the wheel. So great to have him back here. So that puts Jordi Lawrence down to 9th and Alvarez down to P10. And elsewhere, a few more drivers trying to complete a lap. One of the Thrive Racing cars making their way round. It looks like they're pushing onwards, so they will be the last driver to complete a lap. Coming in now, is there anything that they can do? Let's try and find out. As they push their rate now, it is Roberto Radiocha in P11 for the time being. And we see changes there. Coming into Parabolica, 1 corner to go. You hear the revs rising, screaming underneath. Parabolica, can they get improved? Shortest run to the line? No, coming into the pit lane. So it looks like they will not be improving there. Jack Smith starting 13th. Stephen Hepner starting 14th. Ryan Hall will be starting 15th. Last on the grid by the looks of things. Reese Drummond-Pompey making his first appearance here in the Premier Series. A decent little effort, 1.3 seconds off the pace there from the pole time. So that's it, then let's go through the grid once again. Cody Lawrence starts on pole, Nico Bossert in P2, Jaden Neal starts 3rd, Thomas Barbary is 4th, Philip Olsen is 5th, Maxi Younger starts 6th, Mark Levine starts in 7th, Oscar Williams, the Welsh Wizard, returns into P8, Jordi Lauis is 9th, and Aro Alvarez, he starts in P10. That rounds up our top 10 here out of 15 cars. Getting ready to go racing for 35 laps here at Monza. Expecting a one-stopper, and could be very, very interesting. Maybe we'll be seeing some split strategies. Again, I had Maxi Younger filling me in on the strategy side of things earlier on today. And he was saying that C3, definitely the tyre to be starting on. As we wait for the time to tick away, the qualifying session will come to an end here. And then we will be snapping our way onto the grid. There we go. As we get some lovely B-roll of the track in the background. Of course, Monza, it's such a picturesque circuit. A circuit that has so many stories to tell from across the years. The drivers are now making their way to the grid. We'll be joining them in just a moment's time. and it should be a very, very exciting race indeed. Monza. It is daunting, it is fast, it is ferocious, and it is one that is sure to produce a fantastic race coming into this one. As the time ticks down, a lovely view of the grid coming in here. Let us know who you think is going to be on top at the end of this race. Let us know where in the world you are joining us from. Should be very, very exciting to see how it all unfolds. All the drivers now onto the grid. Again, you join myself, Ross McIntyre, Case Wilhelms on the cameras, Alex Cochrane. He is technically in the commentary box. He has offered to say things, but he's doing race stewarding, so I'm going to let him carry on doing that. He's got a more important... way down into turn number 1. The Rettifilo chicane. And boy, oh boy, we know it can get a bit interesting when we are going around there. As we are just waiting for the red lights to come on and for the drivers to get going. Here the V12s roaring away underneath them. Maxi Junger has joined us in the commentary box very quickly. He's now disappeared again. Well, good to have Maxi alongside, a multiple-time Formula Trout champion. The red light's about to come on. The revs will rise. We are set to go racing here at Monza. It's a Junger GP lockout on the front row once again. Who gets into turn 1 first? It is lights out and we are underway. Great start there from Cody Lawrence. Nico Bossert already tucking him behind as there's clouds of smoke being kicked up in the background as the wheels spin underneath them. Diving into the opening chicane. Is there contact? There is someone round further back in the pack, possibly one of the DAC Systems cars as they push their way onwards, but that is the only casualty so far. That is Mark Levan who has gone round. Jaden Neal now challenging Nico Bossert for second place on the run into the second chicane, side by side. Does he have the mustard? Up through he goes, contact between them, but Neal out onto the gravel and he will have to push him round. There's a bit more chaos in the background as well, but it is Lawrence from Bossert at your front two. Looks like Thomas Barbary's managed to slide into third place. Philip Olsen moving on by as well after Jaden Neal, the American, big time held up by getting onto the gravel there. Of course, no DRS just yet. Have to wait until lap number 3 for that to become available on board with the American. Now he's got through, back through Philip Olsen. So he's now back up to 4th place and maybe trying to push on already on those C3 tyres. Well then, what a crazy opening lap we have just seen here. A spinner at the back for Mark Levan, who's already managed to work his way up to 13th place. I believe that Aaron Alvarez may have encountered some issues earlier on. As we complete lap number 1, it is Cody Lawrence that leads, Nico Bossert in 2nd place. Action further back in the pack. Maxi Junger gets past Radiocha. Does he? Maybe not quite. Yes, he does. Lovely stuff from the German, a multi-time Premier Series champion, the team boss of the most dominant force in Formula Trout, making his return behind the wheel. Roberto Radiocha can only watch as Junger and Williams continue to fight. Two old rivals, banging wheels, nearly going off the racetrack. Oscar Williams shoving Maxi Junger out there at the second chicane. As I said, two old rivals. Looks like no love lost there as they bomb through. That's allowed Radiocha up into 8th place as a result of that. But Junger looks like he has a lot of pace on board at the moment. The V12 screaming underneath them. 900 horsepower of pure 12-pot fury, as well as some additional KERS boost as well. Hybrid, who needs hybrid when you are at Monza? Looks like Cody Lawrence has already got the gap up to over a second. So he's broken the DRS. DRS will be active at the end of this lap. As Cody Lawrence, Nico Bossert though, fastest lap of the race, 120.660. That is a very, very quick lap time from him. On board with Radiocha once again. Pushing on down. Is there a lunge maybe to be had on Oscar Williams in front? Not quite. Maybe we'll be seeing Maxi Junger poking up the inside. No, not quite. You can see in his mirrors just a little bit too far back. There is Maxi Junger behind the wheel of the CRG. Maybe not the most ideal race start after getting shoved out onto the gravel down at the Variante della Roggia. Of course, one thing that we that maybe needs to be questioned is my Italian pronunciation. There goes Max Junger though, getting past Radiocha, who made a small mistake there at the chicane where we saw Junger in the gravel trap just a lap ago. As they make their way now back onto the backstretch. Looks like Nico Bossert is close right up to Cody Lawrence there. So some strange happenings up the front of the pack as we continue to watch this battle though. Junger chasing right up to the back of Williams. Now there is our leaders. Barbary in P3 in a bit of no man's land. He's got some time to Jaden Neal behind, who himself has some time to Philip Olsen. So already DRS train starting to be broken up the front of the pack. Now Nico Bossert does have the DRS. Sets another fastest lap of the race as well. On board with the German. Too far back for a move. Close enough though to fill the mirrors, maybe try and force a mistake out of his teammate, out of his championship rival. As let's go. Oh, love a good shoulder cam there. Oh, I've missed those in motorsport. It's great to be back on Assetto Corsa, a wonderful simulator of choice. One that, well, is getting old now, is in the process of getting replaced. Of course, Assetto Corsa Evo is not out in early access yet. I think it's still the beta version that has now been released. But it's officially going into early access soon, supposedly. But we're still sticking to our guns here on the original AC. Looking behind from Cody Lawrence, you can see how much pace Nico Bossert has on board. Didn't get the greatest start in the world, unfortunately for him. But continuing to push round, will have the DRS, can try and find his way through on Cody Lawrence. Cody Lawrence looking for his third win of the season, his first since Portimao. It's been 4 races, one of those was off the podium. Silverstone, a lowly 8th as Doman Pompey. Wow, that is a huge, huge hit into the barriers at the exit of the second Lesmos. And that could be potentially out of the race. That was huge, and indeed he is out of the race. A real shame off first retirement here. Back to the battle for the lead though. Is there a push here maybe from Nico Bossert? The German looks to the inside. Doesn't quite go for it though. I'm sure they know that their team boss is on the track at the same time. Don't want to cause an accident. The battle behind hotting up as well. Barbary and Jaden Neal getting a little bit too close for comfort, heading through the opening chicane as they push on round through Curva Grande. Big curve, literally translated back in the day. A monstrous, monstrous corner, similar to the likes of Blanchimont at Spa, where it really tested your skill and how brave you are. Nowadays with a modern Formula car, you just flip the wheel and you go round, and it's just how little speed can you scrub off. But still, opportunities to set up moves there on the run into the chicane if you are able. As Neil now pushing on. Radiocha is back behind in P9. Looks like Maxi Junger has got through Oscar Williams in front. Mark Levant, who we saw spinning on the opening lap, he's up to P10, potentially chasing down Radiocha for P9 as we speak. Now back on board with the German, the championship leader in the number 93 car. He is closer than he has ever been to Cody Lawrence. DRS will be wide open, surely using some curves. Another fastest lap, and this one is going to be textbook. Easy as you like. Nico Bossert goes to the lead of the race on lap number 6. Moves being made in the background as well. That's a huge dive there from Jaden Neal, but locked up the front. Went on a bit too deep, and that allowed Thomas Barbary to slide back on through. The Frenchman holding on to dear life to P3 at the moment. The lead 2 still fighting very, very closely up the front as it stands. Nico Bossert though, can he disappear? Let's just listen in to this V12 engine for a little bit, look back, see what Bossert can do. My oh my, it's a lovely sound, isn't it? Just music to your ears. Cody Lawrence still keeping in check and actually ducking out there. Was that trying to cool the car, or was that just maybe trying to fill the mirrors of his teammates in front? Oh, time will tell. He definitely didn't go for the move. Ducked back into behind him. Bossert, another fastest lap of the race. Of course, he did have the DRS. That being said, though, Cody Lawrence repeats the favour, goes back to the lead of the race into turn number 1. And it is now your pole sitter back in front of his teammate, the championship leader, Younger GP 1 and 2. Just behind them though, Barbary, Jaden Neal getting very, very close, fighting for the final podium places. Had one retirement already in this race. That number 7, look at how close the Younger cars are. Of course, team boss here tonight, Maxi Younger, he's currently in P7 in his fight with his old rival, Oscar Williams, the Welsh Wizard. These boys know that they can't really crash into each other when your team boss is on the same track as you. It is really not a good look, but they've managed to avoid that so far. 35 laps here await us. I'm expecting pit window to be around about lap 12 to 15. And then they'll be heading on to a harder compound surely for the second stint. One stop is to be expected here. Most drivers on the C3s as it stands, the middle medium compounder tyre if we're talking in old parlance. Well, I say old, maybe only a couple of years ago, but my point still stands. On board with Jaden Neal once again. The American will have the DRS coming up the main straight. Shortest run to the start-finish line, of course. Maybe in that situation you want to try and hang it out a bit wider to give yourself better momentum. Nico Bossett meanwhile back to the lead. Can Jaden Neal get it done this side? To the inside, locks up everywhere. Oh, contact and around in the battle for third. And that looks like it's going to be Thomas Barbary coming out worse. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, unfortunately. But big contact. Jaden Neal benefits there. Barbary goes round. I think just 2 into 1 didn't quite work. And that is a real shame. And Cody Lawrence has not had the best lap in the world here. Potentially dropping out of DRS range if he's not careful. And that's what you really need to do. To stay in the lead battle is just stick within the DRS. Coming through Ascari. Looks like a little bit of a wobble on the final left there. That's going to cost him some time, but it looks like he's a bit stronger through that section of the racetrack. Here's Stephen Hepner. He's down in 13th. I believe he may have just had a slight spin as well. So hopefully everything okay for the Dutchman. Yeah, looks like he's still going. So this is his first race entry of the year as well, it looks like. Roberto Radiocha continues to push around. And within the DRS now of Oscar Williams. Can he get through? The Formula Trout legend. This is Radiocha's 4th entry of this season. Best finish of P8 so far. That was in Las Vegas. Can he try and match that here at Monza? It's not going to be done down into the opening chicane, but still following and looks like he's catching. Williams maybe just struggling a little bit on his tyres. He was fighting with Maxi Younger. Very, very hard was the Welshman. But right now it looks like he's holding position. There is Alvaro Alvarez in the Younger GP Academy car. Currently P11, just behind him. Jack Smith, who I believe is on his second entry of the season. As they work, that's Andy Smith, in fact, it's not Jack Smith, apologies there. And I believe that's actually, I believe it's Andy Smith's first entry of the season anyway. So, and indeed it is. So a new team here in Thrive Racing this weekend. They've already lost one car, but Smith chasing down the Younger GP Academy driver in front. Maybe he'll be having a look. Already trying to break the toe is Alvarez into Ascari. It must be said that Thrive car looking very, very quick. The closing speed there into the braking zone was absolutely monumental. Lap 10 of 35 already here at Monza. As we're flying down the back straightaway now, coming into the Parabolica, and then they'll be back out again. This is where your moves are made, DRS. This is in modern Formula cars where it's the only real overtaking spot. You just use this ridiculously long straight, get as much speed as you can, use the overspeed to just blast on by to turn number 1. Was that a spin or just a lockup just in front? Either way, a big, big cloud of dust. I think it may have just been a slight lockup there. Oh, look at that, Andy Smith getting very sideways on the throttle, a bit too aggressive on the loud pedal there, but was able to collect the car, calm it down, and then continue pushing onwards. Heading now into the second chicane. Don't want to clobber either of the sausage curbs because you end up doing what Alvaro Alvarez has just done, and it just pitches the car around. It can't handle the sudden change of yaw, and you really lose the rear. It can cost you a lot of time if you are not careful. And both of them really pushing, running very, very wide on the exit of the second Lesmo corner as they push on down into Ascari once again. This is where we joined them just a lap ago. As we are pushing onwards, Radiocha and Williams fighting as it stands. They're still fighting for P8 as well. As we go on to lap 11, we'll get Antoine Capon in for a quick interview from a team boss in just a moment's time. But for now, through goes Radiocha, pushing on through. That is as easy as you like. Absolutely flew by. That was a monster move there from Radiocha to move up into P8. Can Oscar Williams do anything about it? The Welshman on board with him, fighting for P8 on his return to Formula Trout. He's got a German flag on his helmet for reasons unknown to science. May have been a last-minute deal to get Oscar back in the car behind the wheel. Can't do anything. He's going to have to try and set up that move once again. That's all this track really is sometimes, unfortunately. Again, in modern Formula cars, it's just about setting it up so that you get the run out of the parabolica and running down into turn one. The opening chicane is using that DRS. As long as you get that run, you're almost guaranteed to get through, essentially. They are starting to catch the cars in front, though. Looks like Jordi Laus and Max Junger had a bit of a scrap. Junger now up to P6 as it stands. So nice going there on his second entry of this season for Maxi Junger. Came 7th last time out at Suzuka, so looking to improve on that one as he gets back behind the wheel of a Formula Trout car in season 12. And we are going to get joined by Antoine Capon in the commentary box. Antoine, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Antoine. Thanks for having you along. I've been told apparently we're just doing a couple mid-race interviews there as Radiocha and Williams continue to scrap out on the track and manages to get through. But Antoine, talk us through how's things, how you're enjoying the race so far.
It's a great race for now. It's obviously I'm really watching this race closely because it's the first race for two of our drivers, so for Oscar and for Steven. So obviously I'm watching it very closely. I'm enjoying it for now. It's a very good debut race for Oscar Williams for now. He's in P8. He's gonna get in a point scoring position, I think, for this race, and that's just great for the league.
Absolutely. I mean, let's talk about Oscar quickly just for a moment. I mean, Vortex Racing, to get Oscar Williams back in a Formula Trout car, that's an absolute coup. You know, we know how much of a fantastic driver he is. Was that a case of, you just asked him and he agreed, or did he want to race for you? What happened there to get him in the car?
Well, we asked. He wanted to get back in Trout. He wanted to race again, and I contacted him, and he said yes. And so yes, I asked him, and he accepted. So that's how we got him.
That is fantastic to hear. He has just been passed by Radiocha once again, though. That battle that he's in continues to rage on. Let's talk about Vortex Racing in general. Speak to the public. How's the season gone so far for you guys? What are your goals for the rest of the season?
Well, I'm going to talk a bit about the beginning of the season. It wasn't great for Vortex. Obviously, we didn't race for a while. We raced in the first race, and then we didn't have any driver, so it's been a bit complicated. But now we've got two drivers. We've got, for the main team Vortex, we've got Ty and Oscar, so two really fast drivers who can get good results. And we've got two other teams because we merged in the middle of the season. I'm not the founder of Vortex. I'm the founder of K2 Performance, and we merged with Vortex in the middle of the season. So that's why we got better results, because obviously when we're together, we're stronger. That's kind of our motto. And our goals for the end of the season, well, score a maximum amount of points. This is the first season for Vortex in Trout, and the first season for K2. So we're doing our best, and we're hoping for maybe a top 8, top 7 finish in the standings. It's looking good for now that we have 2 very fast drivers. And we'll see. Normally we should be able to get at least to the top 10 in the standings.
We hope so. Currently looking good for Oscar Williams in that fight. Stephen just struggling a little bit more, unfortunately, but I'm sure he'll be able to work his way through. So yeah, I guess the plan is just, go out there, be as fast as you can. Get as many points, and then moving forward, I guess, looking forward to maybe season 13 down the line, just improve as much as you can, and work your way up the grid.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna do our best. As I said, we're gonna try aiming for podiums now, and we'll see how it goes. Really.
Oh, that is great to hear. And anything else that you'd like to let the adoring fans know?
Yeah, I mean, enjoy the race. Obviously, it's a great race. I'm looking at the lap times because I'm doing the engineer role for Steven at the same time. So I'm looking at the lap times at the same time. It's a very close season. This season, in terms of performance, we have younger GP dominating, obviously, but we have CRG right behind. Good drivers in every team, to be honest. So it's a pretty good season. Pretty entertaining. So everyone enjoyed, and thank you for interviewing me.
Oh, pleasure was all ours. Thank you very much, Antoine. We'll let you go back to Stephen and carry on with your job. That was Antoine Capon, one of the team bosses over at Vortex. Again, those guys merging with KT Racing. And an absolute coup to get Oscar Williams and Stephen Hepner in the car. And we'll let him go back and carry on with his duties as race engineer for Stephen Hepner in this one. So, while we were talking to Antoine, a little bit of action out on track as we're going on to lap 16. Nico Bossert back to the lead of the race, as Thomas Barbary has now caught Jaden Neal back up after their contact a little bit earlier on. As that looked to be a lapping drivers now. Yes, they are by the looks of things. Maxi Junger comes into the pit lane as well, lap 16. So we've not seen many other people coming in, I don't believe, off the top of my head. So I think he may be the first to bite the bullet and come into the box. So that could be interesting. But let's follow around this reignited battle for second place. And Thomas Barbary maybe getting a little bit hot under the helmet. He will have a point to prove to Jaden Neal after their contact a little bit earlier on. Of course, coming together, heading into the opening chicane. And, unfortunately, Barbary facing the wrong way cost him a little bit of time, but perhaps driving in anger, he's been able to catch back up. And luckily for him, looks like the tyres haven't taken too much damage, nor the car in general from that contact. We do run 100% damage here in Formula Trout, so if you clip the wall, it can hurt quite a lot. On board with the Frenchman into the Parabolica, now back on board with Radiocha. Radachia, should I say. I'm terrible at pronunciations sometimes, and I do apologise if I get anybody's wrong again. And it's been a while since I've been back at Trout, so it's getting used to everyone's names again. But back on board with Radachia, chasing down Oscar Williams still, who looks like he may be coming into the pits. No, he sells the dummy. Maybe just trying to break the toe. Radachia going to be a little bit too far back for a move on this occasion. But I think he will certainly be closing down. And actually, he is having a little bit of a look on that occasion. Tries to fill the mirrors. Of course, racing for Stella Alna is Radachia. 3 entries this year so far. Best finish of 8th, which he's looking to match here at Monza. As we go on to lap 17 now. Bossert still leads from Lawrence. Jaden Neal in P3. Thomas Barbary right behind him, though. That has surely got to be a move coming up at the end of this lap. And again, we won't be far away as Ryan Hawke makes his way off the road. That's at the exit of the second Lesmo. He's been really struggling today, unfortunately for him. And disappointed, another mistake for the GP Academy driver. And he will push onwards 26 seconds to Stephen Hepner up in front. This is becoming a bit of an unscheduled test session for Hawke. And Stephen Hepner a little bit too far back to make a move. Yeah, 6 seconds. That's That's actually the race leaders up in front of him. So Bossert and Lawrence are now definitely lapping cars. And you can see them flying on by. So the Dutchman is a lap down. Again, was struggling for pace a little bit earlier on. And struggled in qualifying, unfortunately, as well. And just been told, Jaden Neal actually went off the road a little bit. Thomas Barbary has come back. They came together at Ascari, I believe. Neal now back in P4, 1.7 seconds away. So I'm not sure if they came to blows or Neal made a mistake. But he went off the road at Ascari, we're being told. That allowed Thomas Barbary back into the podium places. So that is good stuff for Barbary, who currently sits third in the championship. The top three, is, in fact the top four, should I say, is going into this race, the order of the championship. In fact, scratch that, the top five is the order of the top five in the championship as it stands. So there you go, some food for thought. Thomas Barbary, who we are glad he's back up onto the podium places, of course. He was runner-up in season 11 to Cody Lawrence. Lawrence, it was actually quite close in that one. Unfortunately, Barbary did miss the race in Abu Dhabi and ended up finishing 45 points back. If he made that race at Abu Dhabi, maybe would have been a little bit closer, but just was not quite as consistent as Lawrence was in season 11. And then the season before that as well, if you cast our minds, Nico Bossert was runner-up in that season. So a lot of drivers up the front of the pack with points to prove, maybe feeling hungry. On board with Maxi Younger, a multiple-time champion, of course. He's behind one of his junior drivers in Alvarez, who, well, I don't think will make it too hard for Younger to get through, because Younger's on fresh rubber and has been running quicker in that CRG car. We'll have the DRS as well as we go on board. And let's see if he can close in, maybe using a bit of curves as well. And yet, look at the speed, just the warp drive down the front straight to the inside. And gets it done on the brakes. You can see him there. Nice little bit of racing technique as well. Just pointing the car slightly left on the run into turn number one. Now, we've seen drivers do that before to shove drivers off. But what Maxi was trying to do there was actually increase the distance that the car was traveling into the corner. So he could brake just that little bit later. And that allowed him to slide on up into P9. So very, very nice stuff there from him. And he will push on. Quite a bit of time, though, that he has continued to push on, and quite a bit of time until he it's quite a bit of time until he gets to, what am I trying to say here, till he gets to Radicchia up in P8. There we go, got there in the end. But a few drivers yet to pit. On the subject of pitting, Philip Olsen comes in from 5th place in the Griffin Gaming car, and that should be a set of the C2s, I believe. He goes for a soft compound. Okay, interesting stuff. So he goes onto a softer compound there with the red sidewalls on. And he will now push away and onwards. And also will come out in P7 as Oscar Williams also comes into the pits. They're starting to get those boxes from the those up the front of the pack, shall I say. On lap 20 of 35. Cody Lawrence then. What can he do? Maybe he tries to undercut his teammate, because it looks like there's no team orders going on here. It is all-out war between the Younger GP pair. He's going to be too far back to launch a move into turn one unless Bossert makes a mistake at the exit of Parabolica. And neither of them coming in, continuing to push around. They're clearly happy on these C3 tyres as it stands. So, yeah, they're more than happy pushing around and maybe just holding station. Maybe that's what Lawrence is doing. Maybe he's just sitting there waiting, biding his time. He was on pole. And, he's led a significant portion of this race before Bossert got through. They traded places for a little while. And then the American driver has settled into 2nd place. Thomas Barbary comes in, as does Jaden Neal. Of course, Barbary is going to win that race out of the pit lane after Neal's issues, as Radicchia also comes in. So it looks like, let's see the gap between Barbary and Neal. So Neal has gained a little bit of time in the pit lane there, but nothing too extraneous. So up in front, they are, of course, net P3 and 4. Jordi Lauis yet to pit, as are our race leaders in Bossert and Lawrence. The Younger GP guys, as I was saying moments ago, just continuing to push their way around. Left back on board with Andy Smith. He should be getting out of the way of the race leaders momentarily. Running P12, he will probably be getting the blue flag. That might be a bit of a lifesaver there for Nico Bossert, because it's going to give him the DRS as well. But Andy Smith does get out of the way and jumps on the anchors as well. Very, very gentlemanly. And if anything, that may have held Cody Lawrence up just a little bit, but that's all okay. And Lawrence comes in. All right, then the American driver makes his way into the pit lane. Is this him biting the bullet? Is this him going, okay, it's time to come in and push. See if we can undercut my teammate, the championship leader. Let's see, it's going to be a softer set of tyres. Angles it quite significantly into the pit box. Of course, the virtual pit crew don't mind that. You can't run them over, luckily. And of course, apart from your one bloke stood there with the pit board, there is no one else there. That's all virtual. Comes back out a little bit squiggly over the bumps that are there on the exit of the pit lane, trying to get those 900 horses from the engine onto the floor. Locks the front tyres as well as he comes in, trying to get them back up to temperature, trying to get the brakes back up to temperature as well. So Cody Lawrence, he rejoins in P3. If he has a strong outlap here, he might be able to jump Nico Bossert, who may be going a little bit further, may be coming into the pits on this lap. It may have been a pre-agreed thing. Of course, Lawrence was on pole. It could have been whoever's quicker in qualifying gets the preference coming into the pits. Although, of course, on a set of course, you do get your own pit box, and maybe that's just their own thinking. So lap 22 of 35, Willie Lowis in P2, still yet to box. So he will be on much more worn tyres on the C3. Bossert does come into the pit now. This is on board with Jordi Laus in the Griffin Gaming car. Now we're going on board with Nico Bossert. And it's all eyes on that timing tower. Where is he going to come out? Is he going to come out in front of his teammate? Nice quick stop there from the virtual Younger GP crew. We wait and see, where is his teammate? It's a slow trundle down the pit lane. He'll be getting on the gas now as Cody Lawrence. Lowis also, and there he is. Is Cody Lawrence going to get in front? Yes, he is. Cody Lawrence, the American driver, back to the lead of the race. Of course, his tyres a lap older, but now we have a straight dogfight from the Younger GP boys to decide who is going to be on top in this one. Will it be the fourth win in a row, the sixth or the fifth of the season for the championship leader? Or will it be the reigning champion, Cody Lawrence? Will he be taking his third win of the season, breaking a duck that extends back to Portimao? Only time will tell. Let's wait and find out. Thomas Barbary there, he set fastest lap of the race previously. Jordi Lowis comes out in front of Radicchia. It looks like running long for Lowis has paid dividends there. He's now in P8. And yeah, looks like Oscar Williams has got the jump on. No, ignore me. My maths is all wrong. So yeah, so that's worked out for Oscar Williams. That's hurt Radicchia, and Williams as well, or Lowis as well, should I say, is on the fresher tyres. So he should be able to try and streak away ahead in that Griffin Gaming car. On board with Roberto Radicchia. And let's see, he will have the DRS, of course, coming through here under the old oval circuit, under the bridge. On board with Nico Bossert, though, gaining. Is he gaining enough for a look into turn one? No. Thinks about it momentarily, then immediately decides against it, decides to tuck back in behind his teammate. Jaden Neal now fastest lap of the race. We're into the low 119s. Of course, the car's getting lighter as the fuel drains away. And on that fresher, softer compound of tyres to the end of the race, you can extract more pace from these Formula Hybrid V12-Rs. Of course, provided by the wonderful people over at RSS Studios, who continue to put out fantastic cars. And of course, we are an affiliate of RSS Studios here at Formula Trout, so you can click on the links in the description. And we will get a little cut of percentage as well if you buy one of the cars, which of course helps them, helps us here in the league. And of course, if you want to join the league as well, head down to the description. The Discord is there if you want to find out how to race against some of the best in Assetto Corsa and prove you have what it takes at the very top of single-seater racing in this sim. So Bossert looking very, very close. This could well be a race decided by who is in the right place at the right time, who gets the DRS heading into turn one on the final lap, because that is where you want to be. You want to have the DRS, have the momentum and get through there, because then unless there's then your teammate, in the Younger GP guy's case, is not going to be able to find a way through, as Nico Bossert does go to the lead. Apparently, according to the live timing. I was going to say that definitely didn't happen. It is still Cody Lawrence, who we're currently on board with, who leads this race. Thomas Barbary is chucking in fastest lap after fastest lap. He could become a bit of a dark horse later on in this as well. If these two start properly fighting, don't be surprised if the Frenchman catches the back of them and makes this a three-way scrap for the win. Ooh, a small mistake there from Lawrence. You saw the movements of the car. There was a small correction on the front end. I think it bit too much speed in the corner and it just understeered outwards. He had to flick the car in a little bit. Does cost him time through that DRS zone, but coming into Ascari, that's not really an overtaking spot in cars this large. If you're in a younger, a more junior Formula, a smaller car, then you can have a crack into Ascari, but in these big boys, these modern Formula cars, not quite possible, unfortunately. So Bossert, he was a little bit slow there on the entry to Ascari. Might not be close enough once again with the DRS. Let's find out. Yeah, Lawrence a tenth and a bit faster on the previous tour, and I ignore what I previously said because Nico Bossert is going to have a look, decides not to have a go there. Bit of lap traffic, who really dives out the way. Oh, goodness gracious me, that could have been a bit chaotic coming through there. Luckily, everyone is okay, but man, oh man, that was properly close out there. As we continue to follow this fantastic battle for the race lead, Cody Lawrence, the reigning champion in the Formula Trout Premier Series. Nico Bossert, second place, his teammate, the current championship leader. It is, well, German versus American. Who is going to be out on top here in Italy? Flying their way through under the bridge once again, through the second DRS section. Is there anything there? No, not quite. A little bit wide though from Lawrence at the mid-corner. That could cost him, and look at that. Trying to break the toe. Yes, there's lap traffic, but he really smashed his way over to the left-hand side of the racetrack there very, very quickly. He knows that his teammate is hungry. He knows that his teammate is quick and that his teammate may be looking for a way through. He's closer on this lap is Bossert. He should be getting the move done surely, because look at how close they are. He'll get the DRS. There's Cody Lawrence. There's Nico Bossert. To the race lead goes the championship leader. Lap 27 of 35. We are quickly running out of laps here, as there is Thomas Barbary making his way through some of the traffic. And he is slowly starting to gain, but I don't think the Frenchman has enough pace on board to make his way through, unfortunately for him. Unless, of course, there is a coming together between the front pair, or they really start to fight. We'll have to wait and see, because right now it's all been very clean racing. It's just been the classic after you sir, no after you sir, down into turn one. No real wheel-to-wheel action. It's all been about the DRS and track positioning, and they seem very happy to let that continue. Maybe one of them, though, as the race ticks away, as the checkered flag draws nearer, will start to make it more physical, start to begin a proper altercation between them. We'll have to wait and see. Coming down the back straight. Of course, no DRS down there. I think it would be quite interesting to see if there was DRS down there into Parabolica, but it would potentially get someone hurt. So I think we'll try and avoid that. And Lawrence has dropped a little bit of time there. I think he may have made a mistake on the exit of Ascari. He will still get the DRS. Nico Bossert fastest lap, 1:19.064, nearly into the 1:18s now. Lawrence was a second slower on that tour. Of course, still within DRS range, still able to close in, still able to get closer. But right now, he's just sitting in position. We are joined once again by Antoine Capon. Antoine, hello, welcome back. Well, it's been a bit of an interesting race unfolding since you last joined us. Oscar Williams now up to 7th place. You must be pretty happy.
Yeah, well, he's pretty fast. He has a great pace, and he managed to overtake, I think it was Rajocia behind him, and he had a great pit stop then, and he just kept the position. So great race from him. How many points? Wait, 6 points. If he finishes in P7, it's 6 points. So pretty happy if he gets that result. He had a great pace all race. It's really great news.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing at the moment as race engineer with Stephen, because I'm sure a lot of people at home watching along won't really know how that really works being a race engineer in sim racing. So talk us through what you do across a race when you're in that situation, what information you're giving the drivers, how you're helping them.
Well, obviously they can see a lot of information on their screen, the drivers. So my main job is to help them keep their eyes on the road, kind of. So I inform Steven of everything that's going on. So who's in the lead, if he has any blue flags behind him, yellow flags ahead, or I tell him about the strategy of the people in front of him. And I give him some advice on his laps. If there are any corners that he is struggling with, I give him some advice.
Great camera work there from our cameraman tonight, Case Films, showing us the virtual pit wall there. Of course, maybe not quite that, but yeah, interesting to hear. That's what you do. Is it different with different drivers as well? You know, is it some drivers like to almost be having a conversation the entire race? Some drivers prefer you to stay quiet and just let them get on with it.
Yeah, it's really different, driver to driver. Steven he likes to have that kind of conversation during the race, and so we talk a lot on the radio, obviously. I tell him really everything that's going on, so where Oscar is, where Nico and Cody are, and he's behind him. If multiple times in the race, Mark Levine spun and lost some time. Oh, what's he doing?
Coming into the pit lane, is that something you've planned, or?
No, that wasn't planned at all, actually.
Maybe he's going for fast lap. That could be a possibility.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he's gonna put in some. Oh no, he's going for fast as well.
Yeah, I mean he had a big enough gap behind him to stop May as well. So yeah, I'm sure he can explain that decision to you a little bit later on. So yeah, sometimes apparently even the race engineers don't know what's happening out on the racetrack.
Yeah, because I'm here. I was just with him before. He didn't tell me. He told me he was struggling with the C2 tires, but he didn't tell me he was gonna go into the pits. So that's kind of a surprise, actually. He told me I can keep going for 8 laps, but apparently not.
Yeah, well, try not to have an argument.
See if he gets
he's made the decision for good reasons, but yeah, clearly going for fastest lap. Have you guys got any other race engineers? Is there someone engineering Oscar out there as well, or is it just you and Steven tonight?
We're a small team, so I'm really the only race engineer there. I'm the only one. And I know Oscar doesn't really like to talk during the race. He wants to be really focused, and he doesn't want to talk, so we don't have any race engineer for him.
That is very much fair enough. Well, we'll let you get back to Stephen and discuss what's just happened there. But thank you once again, Antoine, for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. Best of luck for the rest of the race.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the race.
Thank you very much once again, Antoine Capon, joining us here in the commentary box and getting us some inside looks at what happens for race engineers here in Formula Trout. Of course, it's all your team has to be a well-oiled machine if you want to compete at the very top in sim racing. 31 laps out of 35. Nico Bossert, while we were talking to Antoine, has started to put the hammer down. He's got 1.5 seconds ahead. He's broken the DRS away from Cody Lawrence and is lapping a tenth or so quicker each and every lap. I believe there may have been a mistake somewhere there for Lawrence, unfortunately. He really needs to dig deep if he wants to try and challenge late on. The only drivers within DRS range of each other at the moment is Oscar Williams for Vortex, just ahead of Radachia, who could be looking for a move to try and get through. Push on board with the Welsh Wizard, looking back. Radachia not fully in the slipstream actually, trying to maybe just cool the engine a little bit. Of course, running at high revs for a lot of the time in the V12s. They are engines that do get very, very warm naturally. There's 12 moving parts. They're quite big, and they run at very high RPM, so they are a bit of a nightmare to maintain from a heat standpoint. And here at Monza, it's somewhere where you don't want to run a lot of cooling. You want to try and minimize the cooling openings on the car where possible for increased aerodynamic efficiency and decreased drag as well. So Yeah, maybe just trying to cool the engine down. Here's Radicchia. Of course, we can't see the dashboard, so we can't see what is going on and if there is some engine temp issues, but I'm hoping that will not be the case. We'll go on board and follow him round. Heading through Lesmo number 1, fast and flowing, and then as Jeremy Clarkson put it, into Lesbo number 2, you can really hang your back end out. Of course, it's not actually called that, it's called Lesmo, Jeremy, unfortunately for your information. Radicchia DRS coming into Ascari, not going to be close enough to attempt to move. You can't really attempt to move there anyway, as I said earlier on in the race. So he's just going to have to try and maybe get the run out of the Parabolica, but he didn't quite do that on the previous lap. Is this time the one for Radicchia to try and move his way back up into 8th place? Let's find out. Pushes on round. We'll get the DRS, of course. He runs really, really wide, a lot wider than Oscar Williams does out of that corner. I'm assuming that's a toe braking tactic, trying to get in the way of the slipstream for Radicchia there from Williams, who goes defensive to the inside. Radicchia, will he overshoot the corner, leaves the space for Williams side by side into the opening chicane. Somehow, Oscar Williams is still ahead. He went into the corner almost entirely behind. Radicchia left him the space, and he utilised that and was able to slide back up into P8. So, lovely stuff there. Great racing from this pair. You know, super respectful out on the racetrack, which is what we want to see as the laps tick down, fighting for P8. And they are pushing each other to the absolute limit. Radicchia seemingly stuck as the hunter at the moment, and Oscar Williams choosing very much to stay as the hunted. He wants to be defending and not attacking, it would seem. Radicchia getting very, very close now into Ascari. He's going to be closer than ever if he gets the exit out of Parabolica that he needs. And once again, yeah, Oscar Williams really trying to break the slipstream, break the toe. You can see him diving off the racing line out of corners, just trying to hurt the momentum of the car behind. Now then, is this the opportunity? 4/10, DRS will be open, maybe using some KERS as well. Let's see if he gets any closer. There goes the DRS, the small beep in the air telling Radicchia he can use it. Williams all the way to the inside once again. Oh, Radicchia sells him the dummy. Williams goes straight on. Oh, that was lovely there from Radicchia, who just sold him the dummy. Braked a little bit early. Williams hit the brakes way too late and went straight on, and that allows Radicchia to slide on through, heading into Curva Grande. And he makes his way up to 8th place. We're on the penultimate lap of the race here. Nico Bossert 2.5 seconds ahead of Cody Lawrence. In fact, we are on the final lap now. And boy, oh boy, he's really just put the hammer down, and Cody Lawrence just hasn't had an answer to give, unfortunately for him. It was Lawrence who started this race on pole position and led most of the early laps. They traded places, the younger GP boys ding-donging for a few laps. But after Bossert got through, after the pit stops, there was no looking back, and he just started to hit his marks and started to drift away out front. And Cody Lawrence, unfortunately for him, yeah, just no way to respond. He's only finished one race off the podium so far this season, has Bossert. That was round number 2 at the Red Bull Ring, where he was 4th. Every other race has been a win or a second. 30 points was the advantage he had in the championship coming into this one. He's going to extend it even further as we head into the final third of the season. And this looks like a man who maybe doesn't have a hand on the trophy just yet, but he is certainly reaching for it. The German comes into the Parabolica for the very final time here at Monza. Makes it 4 in a row for the championship leader. Nico Bossert wins a scintillating race here at Monza in the Formula Trout Premier Series. Pole sitter, teammate, the American Cody Lawrence comes home in what will be a disappointing 2nd place, given how much of this race he led. And it looks like Thomas Barbary will round off the podium places. Jaden Neal in P4, Philip Olsen in P5. That is the top 5 of the championship, finishing in the exact same places in the race. And is that Geordie Lewis has just got through on Maxi Younger? I believe it is. That's Levine Smith coming in to finish the race. And it is indeed Geordie Lewis getting in front of Maxi Younger late in the day. Younger was chasing him down. He did get through him, But I think Jordi Lewis was able to slide back up into 6th, so Maxi Younger will finish 7th, Radachia will finish 8th, Oscar Williams 9th, Alvarez will be the last car to finish in P10, Levine, Smith, Hepner and Hawk, they were all a lap down. Of course, we did have a retirement earlier on, but it is Nico Bossert who makes it his 5th race win of the season. And this middle third, this middle segment of the year has very much been his. Untouchable. The German driver in the German car, efficiency at its finest. And really stamps his authority down and makes himself the championship favourite. What a race for Nico Bossert. Wonderfully executed, precise as anything. Nico Bossert takes a wonderful race win here at Monza. Cody Lawrence 2nd, Thomas Barbary in P3. 35 laps here have just blown on by. Man oh man, what an exciting race we just saw. A battle of strategy, teammates going at it. We had all of it. And again, Nico Bossert really now puts himself in the position to plough on forward in the championship. So we are done there at Monza. Of course, that is the virtual podium. The drivers won't be stood there, but it's safe to say that there will be celebrations being had from everyone involved tonight, especially from Younger GP. And speaking of the Younger GP boss, very keen to get an interview in. So we'll bring him in now and see if we can speak to the one and only Maxi Younger. Let's drag him into the commentary corner. There he is, Maximilian Younger. Well, a very nice race for your team. A decent enough race for you.
Yep.
You're pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm okay. Like, I mean, I'm very happy about the JGP result. Obviously, another 1-2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, nothing else to write home about that one, really. Another 1-2. Another race. Yeah.
I don't know if you were watching what happened to me specifically during the race.
We didn't catch what happened at the end when you were fighting Jordi Lewis, but I'm assuming there was some tomfoolery going on.
Yeah, some contact there, and lost the position, which I don't think it was in a fair way.
Well, is that going to the stewards then? Are we already fighting at the end?
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I'm okay with P7. It's not the worst.
Yeah, you must be pretty happy. Again, you know, it's only your second race back in the car over at CRG, and you're doing a good job.
Same result as last time. It was a P7 as well. But I felt a lot better this race. I think I just had a bit of an unlucky time.
No, that's absolutely fair enough.
Yeah.
What's the plan then for the rest of the season? You going to do any more races, or is that it for you?
No, I'll do the rest of the season.
So maybe a late title charge, or is that not possible?
No, we're way out of the fight. I mean, I'm finishing P7 here, and also like you know, I haven't raced until race 7, so it's not even. I mean, even if I raced from the start of the season, it wouldn't be on. So I just Cody and Nico and Thomas and all those people are really good. They're really on top form. It's the best driver lineup we've ever had at JGP. I'd argue it's the best driver lineup ever in the series, but you know, I'm not biased. Yeah, so I'm really happy about the JGP results as well. I think with this race, there's a chance that everybody else except for CRG in the teams championship is out of the title race. So mathematically, so I think it's just between CRG and JGP now.
Wow. Well, There you go. The more you learn. Well, a good race out there for you, Maxi, both from a team and a personal perspective. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for streaming and commentating.
Of course, our pleasure. Of course, a big thank you to Case Willems as well on the cameras tonight. Let's speak to Cody Lawrence, the man who finished in second place. Cody, well, I'm sure that's probably a bit of a tough one to swallow, pole position, but just wasn't quite to be tonight.
I just didn't have the pace in the race, unfortunately. You know, there's definitely still positives to take from that. I did not expect to beat Nico one time in qualifying this season. It's a testament to his pace that I thought that. I'm just happy I was able to take one qualifying session this season from him. So that's a goal completed for me there. yeah, I mean, for the race, I did all I could. That was 100% of what I had, but went the wrong way on the pressure adjustment, and I just had too much high-speed sliding, so I was just... I just didn't maximize what I had, I think, setup-wise, unfortunately. But I gave it all I had. I'll always do that.
And it was an enjoyable battle to watch between you and Nico. It must be said. Was there ever any moments where it got a bit too close for comfort, or was it all just very fair racing? You knew what was going on.
Oh, very fair. No, Nico was very fair with how we were mostly just swapping with DRS. I think we're just trying to pull a gap. I don't have a way to communicate with Nico in the race, but I think we both understand how to run a race, and we were able to do a very good first stint. Maybe I should have gone with him a lap longer. I thought the C4 would hang on, and maybe I would have reconsidered the pressure change that I made had I given another lap to think about it. But yeah, no, it's very fair with Nico. Well won to him. He's always got very strong pace, and I'm happy to be close to him because it is very tough to do that. It's kind of like being Max Verstappen's teammate in a way. I feel like Checo in a way. I'm a big Checo fan, so sometimes that feels like that's what I'm running into. I'm running into Max in AC.
Well, hopefully you can maybe be a bit closer than Checo was towards the back end of his time in the Red Bull across the rest of the season.
Yeah. I'll try.
Well, second place and a great fight for the win today. So you're there or thereabouts. I think you maybe just need a bit of luck and a bit of the run of the grid. Thanks for joining us, Cody. We'll see you next time.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That was Cody Lawrence, pole sitter and second place. Let's speak to the man who finished in third place, Thomas Barbary. Thomas, can you hear us in the commentary box?
Of course I do.
Well, a bit of an interesting race there. You had a little bit of a spin at one point, but ultimately able to finish on the podium. You must be happy.
I mean, the spin is not because of me, I guess. Getting killed early on isn't helping my race, I think. But yeah, I think I was like missing 1.1, 0.2 just to get into the DRS of Nico and Cody, maybe get along with them after lap 6 or 7. But yeah, I mean, I didn't practice that much. It was in the end pretty fine to drive. I was expecting a very bad race to drive. I mean, in the end, it came out pretty decent at the spin, at the contact. I mean, I don't think it's my fault. I need to see the replay again, but it's a bit frustrating to get killed for a second time or third time by some guy. Anyway, that's life. And then yeah, at the moment in NASCAR we just lost 1.5 seconds is fine. But yeah, I mean, just missing 1.1, 0.2 to just do something at least. Not even a target to win, but at least be close of it.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair enough. But still, a strong race today. Again, you fought your way back after that incident back onto the podium. It's clear that, maybe the younger guys are a little bit ahead of you at the moment, but you're still there, still fighting for some strong places. What's the game plan for the rest of the season?
Drive. I mean, that's how you do, I guess. I think I'm not going to practice that much again because, like, I don't have a feel for the car. I mean, I can easily drive it, but I mean, yeah, I don't have that much of motivation to drive the car at EM. So yeah, I mean, the next race is going to be fun. Next race, especially because the first French GP, I think, in Trout. At least it's pretty funny because I'm French. I'm coming, and then the season after there is a French Grand Prix. That's bizarre. And then yeah, I don't know what are the remaining track. I think there is Spa, Interlagos, or something like this. So it's going to be decent tracks.
Spa, Circuit of the Americas, and then Interlagos.
Yeah, that's fine tracks. That's pretty good.
Well, hopefully we can see you fighting for the win at one of those. Thanks very much for joining us, Thomas.
Thanks. See ya.
And one last interview to get it out of the way very quickly. Let's just speak to Antoine Capon once again. Antoine, welcome back. Yeah, you must be pretty satisfied with that race overall.
Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied. It's been a great race for the team. 2 points home, so great race for us, and it could have been a better result, honestly. As Oscar has been sitting in P7 for a long time, but he lost 2 positions in the last laps. So it's still a good race. obviously gonna work on the strategies, work on the pace for the coming races, but it's still a good result, and we still got 2 points. That's 4 points total for Vortex Racing, and we're very at the team. We're all very happy to have gotten points today.
That's great to hear. So 4 races left to go of the season. I guess the plan, yeah, just continue to rack up points and get some strong finishes, and then move forward.
Yeah, exactly, and maybe we'll get some podiums in the next races. We'll work on it. We'll work on the setups and the strategies, and the rest will come.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us, Antoine. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Well then, that is about all that we've got time for here for round number 8 of the Formula Trout Premier Series. Join us May 3rd for the next race as we fit into the final phase of the season. We're heading to Paul Ricard. We'll see you then.